Zoinks! So how do we want to start?
What's that weird thing you did before? Greetings! Anyway, so...
Oh, the greetings! No.
Hey guys, we're here to talk about our mystery stairwell. When we were doing the bathroom in the fancy bedroom, and Patrick he removed some of the full floorboards and noticed a bit of a stairwell.
Yes. All right, thanks for coming out tonight. And so I noticed that the main bedroom, the main part of the bedroom had really nice, very old wooden flooring in it, but the bathroom itself had pretty newish, very soft pine or some other fir lining the floor. So I knew it was kind of newer, which made sense because the bathroom wasn't that old. There's an abandoned stairwell there, and then it makes sense that the skylight, which is in the bathroom, actually was the rest of the stairwell into the attic of that part of the house.
Patrick has been doing some renderings, which we're going to show to illustrate what we're talking about. And
Right.
We're basically going to explain the way we are figuring out how the house was remodeled over the centuries and what was changed and how. We're hoping to piece that puzzle all together. And we have some clues from the family that owned the house before we bought it, that we talked to the women who grew up in the house, and they told us what they knew. But because they were children when they moved in and they just grew up there, they were just used to it. They never thought about these things and don't really know the answers either. So
Right.
They're probably watching this right now. Bonjour.
Bonjour.
And they basically are curious to know what we find as well, because it's mysterious and a bit odd, and we're trying to figure it out.
Salut, I'm Patrick.
And I'm Beth.
We're fixing up an old townhouse in the Loire Valley of France, uncovering history and trying to solve mysteries.
We're creating our home in a space for art workshops. Come on along.
Well, mostly we're just super curious, and
Very
you
curious.
know we love a good mystery.
Right.
So we're...
Mystery. So
Yeah.
the one thing, I recently found an amazing book, Amboise, Un château dans la ville. It was a book written specifically about houses and the history of the town. And there's a lot of great information that makes our house make complete sense. There's an old medieval town under what is there now that these houses were built on. And there was never some grand plan on how to build this town. It was just kind of put together. And so when we look at our house, we have basically what looks like an 18th century upgrade on top of a medieval house, or actually three houses. And then in the early 20th century or the very late in the 19th century, our library was then upgraded.
And the dining room,
The
wooden fireplaces.
Yeah,
that
all
are
the
fancy.
fireplaces. That was right around what we can tell was about 1902. The stuff underneath it, our cove, the timbers that hold up the attic, all that stuff is we're pretty sure is medieval. And then that book is helping us kind of piece it together. I'm working on a rendering of the house based upon some measurements I've taken. Essentially what we started with was the library. And the library in the corner has these two porticos or portals. One is a bookshelf and one is a fancy thing that we uncovered in another video. When the previous owners visited us, they showed us an actual black and white photo of the same space, and where the bookshelves are, that was actually a doorway to the neighboring property. Then we were able to get a photo of the outside wall of our library from the neighbor's point of view. And you can actually see where we have our bookshelf, that's actually a doorway. But if you notice, there's another doorway behind it that's bricked up. And it's very clear that there was a doorway there.
So Patrick, what was your theory about why the library was decorated like that and what those alcoves were, why they were covered up? What's your theory?
I thought that that it was probably decor more than any sort of secret, any kind of secrets that were there. Clearly somebody who created it spent quite a bit of time and money on hand painting not only the ceiling but the decorative decor. But I always thought that the figurines that were on the archways were very specific in their meaning. And now I'm not sure.
Yeah, I thought there was something very specific about it all too. Like the fact that they were carrying like a book.
Yeah.
And it had a date.
Right. And one of them had like a little, like a mallet.
Yeah, it had some kind of tool. And
Yeah.
of course, mallet, I'm thinking.
Freemasons.
Yeah. My mind is going, ooh, secret society.
Yeah.
And then that's why they had covered it up, because they didn't,
Yeah.
later on, they didn't want anyone to know.
Right.
So I thought it was either.
Yeah, and also remember we had the placards or the shields that alluded to some other sort of profession, maybe a notaire or something.
Well, they're notaire's plaques.
Yeah.
But I didn't necessarily think it because of those. Also, you know how in that one alcove that we uncovered that was hidden behind fabric, it has those like lilies and dragon looking things?
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, surely that's some kind of specific symbology. You know, it looks so specific, like dragons and lilies. It must mean something.
Mm-hmm. And does it?
I thought there's something very specific. I thought it was either an affiliation to a secret society or some kind of political affiliation.
Yeah.
And that's why I thought they had covered it up later on to protect the family from whatever.
Yeah, and we don't want to discount the fact that this home and this era is like that. The library is clearly 20th century, and there were two great wars and all kinds of stuff that going on during that time.
Right.
So
I
we
thought
don't know.
we thought they did it around like 1902 because that's what the date was.
Right.
And then like there were wars, there were things. We thought, well, maybe then someone covered it up.
Yeah.
And then also, like you said, there were those notaire plaques, and so a lot of you out there in YouTube land thought maybe it was an office, like it was a notaire's office that opened onto the street, and those had once been the doorways or something, or you thought that it was a chapel, like a private family chapel, because of the little alcove, like it would have been perfect for having some kind of religious statue. Those were the most common theories.
Yeah.
Secret society, which of course was pushed by us.
Secrets are exciting.
We wanted it to be a secret society. Or something religious. Those were the main theories. Mm-hmm. But we found out the truth, right?
What did we find out?
So we found out the truth. We visited with the family who used to live there. We met the three sisters who grew up there, and they basically dashed all our hopes of it being a secret society.
Yes, but the truth is equally as interesting.
Yeah, they told us that they knew the story of why the library was like that. The story is that it was decorated by a person in town, a friend of the family that was very fashionable, a bit of a dandy, you might say. And turns out it was just redecorated in a popular fashion of the day, which is called neo-Gothic. It's a throwback to Gothic style. So it was painted in 1902, but meant to look like Gothic churches.
Right.
And so it's just purely decorative. No, there's no secrets. It was nothing political. It was nothing religious. It was just fashionable and just done to be cool. And so a lot of people noticed the similarities with the chapel at Lalande, the chateau from the YouTube channel Chateau Diaries by Stephanie Jarvis. She's having this chapel on their chateau property renovated. And if you watch that, you will note that there are a lot of similarities, right? Like one was the curtains. Like they have these black lines that look like curtains.
Yeah,
and
the
we
painting.
Theirs are painted. Ours are similar, but they're like actually carved lines that make it look like curtains. And then some of the motifs, they have them on their walls. We have it on the ceiling, but it's a very similar motif.
The star pattern.
Stars and also some other decorative like floral thing or something.
Yeah.
And it's very similar in style because theirs was also neo-Gothic. Theirs was also built just to mimic Gothic churches.
Yeah.
It was just the fashion of the day. And so it was just for fun. And so that's pretty cool.
Yeah, but somebody, the people that own this home decided to put quite a bit of money into hiring an artisan to create this.
It was like having an interior designer come and decorate your.
But in a fantastic way.
But it wasn't that fantastical back then. It was very popular. It was very trendy.
Trendy, okay.
It was very trendy design to be neo-Gothic at that time.
Yeah.
So there were a few people who did mention, I think maybe it's just neo-Gothic. Y'all were right. It's just neo-Gothic.
Hey, we're just simple Texas folk.
Well, we don't know.
We don't know. We're learning. So.
Yeah, we're learning. The other thing I was stuck on is, well, why would they have covered that painting up unless they needed to hide it?
Right.
But turns out, it was a trendy thing. Fashions change. At some point, it wasn't trendy anymore, and they were tired of it, and they wanted a new look for the room. So they covered it up with fabric, and it was just another new design, a new way of furnishing the room. But
sometimes history is banal and practical.
I know. I'm very imaginative, and I want it to be something mysterious and weird. Yeah. But it wasn't.
So I guess not all history is full of mystery, right? Take 3. It's not supposed to be silly. So I guess not all mystery surrounding this is meant to be
history.
Right.
So why do you think there's this weird window that we uncovered on the wall?
Yeah. So I don't know. The library is essentially the front of the house. It's on the street. It's on the street level, and that would be the oldest original dwellings of our house. That seems to be a mixture of 3 houses. So, it's only a couple panes. It's clearly cut in half by the floor to the upstairs. So, until we get in there and cut. Open it up to understand what's going on, we won't really know what its purpose was. It seems like it was for ventilation of some sort. Essentially, the bones of the library are probably a medieval structure of some kind. And I don't know what that window is there. It's very odd.
It would have been added later.
I guess, I don't know. It's not a medieval window,
right.
So
obviously the glass panes aren't that old. There's still glass in it?
Yeah.
There was
it looks 20th century.
And so it's like...
Maybe 19th century.
Why is it there?
Yep.
Where did the top of it go?
Mm-hmm.
So do you think the top of it is above that ceiling of the library?
I don't know.
It's still there?
I don't know.
So,
it's behind it is some insulation and then some bricks that are 20th century bricks, but I don't know. I think it predates the library, and it probably maybe there's another part of the window upstairs.
Where would
it's very strange.
Where would this window be upstairs?
I don't know. Oh, it would be in the bed nook.
So it could theoretically be there.
It could, yep. Mm-hmm.
So
I don't know.
I thought you were saying it was in the middle of the room.
Isn't the bed nook in the middle of the room?
No, it's against the wall.
What are you talking about?
What are you talking about? You were originally saying it went across the middle of the floor, like the wood floor.
Oh, that. Yeah. Yeah, you're right. There is a missing wall there Yeah, I don't know how that works. You're right, but I don't know how it works.
Yeah.
And I have nothing to comment on. I can't say anything about it. I don't know.
We don't know yet. Y'all, it's really confusing, and it's obviously we can't even keep our own facts straight. That's why we're gonna.
This window in the back of the library makes the least amount of sense to anything. I have no idea what it's for. I don't know how that works. The stuff behind it makes more sense to me, but I don't know what it is.
But you're gonna keep adding to this rendering, right?
Yeah, once we figure out what's going on, we'll add to it.
But you're also gonna add like the upper story, the bathroom you're renovating, like.
Yes.
So we can see how all that ties together.
Eventually,
and we'll do that in another video. We'll show a little more.
Yeah.
So okay, so talk to us more about the downstairs level.
So the other, what do we call it?
Alcove.
Alcove in the library is exactly 90 degrees to what we think was an exterior door. It is where we thought there was a secret society shrine or something. It had the fabric over it. We pulled that down in a previous video, and then there's this beautiful painting there. That alcove was clearly put in to fill up a doorway. Like, it is another doorway. And so once I got into the upstairs bathroom and looked under the floorboards, I realized there's a stairwell in here. This was a stairwell. And so this would have been an exit from the stairs into the library. Then it got me thinking, well, how does this all work together behind this alcove? And what we can see is exterior door from the library, from the bookshelves. There's a second doorway there, and so what I believe it is a hallway that goes behind the library. Well, that makes complete sense that you would have some door coming off the alleyway, you have a stairwell that would lead to the upstairs bedroom, and it would also allow you to access that stairwell from the library before it was a library. But what is there today? It's the downstairs powder room.
Oh, well, part of it.
Part of it.
And then there's more hallway. So our house was multiple houses joined together.
Yeah.
And then at one time they sold some of it off again.
Right.
And so what we're left with seems to be 3 houses, but I think at one time it was 4 or 5.
There is some generalized history of these properties, and that was that this whole area, this multiple houses, was a part of town where there was a tannery, there was a waterway through there, and so these homes were originally owned together. They were all together. And so if you look at this picture, right here, where the bookshelf is, that was open.
That was an opening.
Right, and there, you can see, if you look really closely, there's bunting on the top, and there's a handrail, and there are steps that go up. And it goes up, I don't know, a couple meters, 6, 7, 8 feet, I don't know. But basically you can see that you would exit the library and go up into another room in another house. That house next door is actually built up. And the reason they built it up was because at that time, the Loire River would flood. And so it makes sense that to exit our building to go to the adjacent building, you would walk up the stairs to get up there, and it makes complete sense.
Yeah.
When you look at the half attic, that is actually the back wall of the house. And you can see that it's square blocks of tuffeau, right?
And you think that's from...
That's from later. That they would not have used that during
the book
Middle
you're
Ages.
reading, it said it was from what time?
Was later,
like 18?
pretty much early 1800s. This back of the house that you can see from the half attic is a square block later, back wall of the house. So that means that on the other side of that is this mystery hallway where currently our little powder room is, and then this stairwell. In the little bathroom, there is a big closet there with shelving, and we think that is probably a bricked up passageway.
Yeah.
It may not even be bricked up, but basically that would have been a way to walk to those stairs from the other part of the house.
And the clue we first had about that, remember, was
the tomette.
The tomettes.
Right.
Which, if you've been watching for a long time, you'll remember when our first visit to the house, when we were all excited looking in every closet and every cupboard and like, ooh, what's this? Ooh, what's that? And in that bathroom, in the floor, of that little built-in closet
Right.
are old-looking tomette, the old tiles,
Yeah.
traditional French tile.
Yeah, it's like a terracotta tile, isn't it?
I think so.
Yeah.
So there's evidence of very old stuff. Also, the half attic, or I like to call it the mezzanine.
Right.
It's between
It's-
the ground floor
it is-
and second floor.
It has the most mystery, and we have the rendering I did at least gives an impression of like how weird and question, like you don't know what is going on with that, which we will find out.
And the timbers in there are very obviously
Yeah.
very old.
Yeah, the bones of this part of the house are very old.
Yes.
Yeah.
And what else? Oh, also there's that lintel.
So looking at the rendering from inside the half attic, which we've shown videos of, where there's a little doorway. You only see about this much of it. It's a lintel, and then it's just filled in doorway. And if now that we've rendered it, you can actually see that that is actually the other side of our little wine cave. So you can see the little stairs going up. That's the stairs that exist today that get into this half attic. And then you have the little door that we've done a video on. That's our current wine cave. And at that door level, it all goes downward. So that is the top of that, which coincides with the floor of the half attic. So you're standing on top of the cave. You look at the lintel, that lintel is some kind of doorway, and there's almost none of it exposed, which means its doorway would be underground below it. So perhaps originally the entrance into this cave was from the other side, from the old medieval house going down. Then it's later when they finished out the house as it is today in the 50s, probably just after World War II, they decided to change it up, and they boxed it in and put a door on the other side.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
Maybe.
And another thing we learned from the family, from the oldest of the three sisters, who remembers the most about the early days of moving into that house, she said there was a water pump right in front of that wine cave area. It wasn't flooring like it is now. It was actually where they would pump water hand pump water out of the ground before they had running water.
Yeah.
And that also coincides with the mysterious seepage of water in the wall behind the wallpaper that happened earlier this year when I was there.
What the heck is going on here? Something sticking out. This is damp and don't think it was like that before, so going in. It's hard, like rock or petrified wood or something.
We think maybe there's some kind of pump and underground well under that floor.
Yeah. Yeah, there's clearly there's space for something else there. Like, why would you have this area that is sort of raised and sort of unused? And it's because the cave is there, but there's room for other stuff there.
And you thought, and I agree, that cave door was originally an exterior door.
Yeah, but it could also have been that I feel like it was, you walk down, but also I feel like the lintel that's there was a way to walk down into the same
it could have
cave.
been one from each side.
Possibly.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe.
Because if there was some kind of pump or well there, it would have been exposed ground. Basically, that covered in area where our boiler is,
Yeah.
and that utility sink, we think that was at one time open air, not enclosed.
Yeah, if you go up inside there, you can see where the kitchen was added on. That's a more modern construct, but the old medieval timbers of what was there are still there. In the older part, like above the cave and also like in the utility where the boiler is,
Right.
like that,
That's all new.
that framing and timber is actually old. It's actually old there.
Where the cave is.
Yeah.
But then above above the utility room and kitchen, it's newer timber.
Yeah, okay, the utility
Right?
room is a little bit newer.
Yeah, so that supports my theory.
Yeah,
Like,
it's a weird transition. I think that where the current stairs are and the cave door, that was the end of the
Yeah.
medieval structure.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah,
That's
okay.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah. I reserve the right to change my mind though, because it's all crazy.
I mean, of course. And what do we know? Like, we're not architects.
we
We're
don't
not
know.
historians.
Yeah, but
we're not
yeah.
builders. We're not even French. So we don't know what they might have
Yeah.
done. But we're trying
Yeah.
to figure it out.
Yeah.
And we're
Okay.
not just making it all up. We are doing research. So tell them about the book.
Yeah, so I found this book. It's Amboise, un château dans la vie. And it was clearly a university project, a research project that turned into a book. And I have the electronic version. I plan to get the regular version to have as a coffee table book. But essentially, it is a book specifically about Amboise, the history, and with a lot of photographs and analysis of the architecture of various buildings around town. One thing that sort of validates my sense of not being 100% sure of anything is that even the people who are actual architectural historians are unsure about how this town was built. What they know is that the medieval town was built without a plan, so things were just kind of done as needed, which explains why things are different all over the place. And then there was a boom after in the early 19th century, early 1800s, where the economic boom happened, and people with these properties then built new versions on top of the old ones or refaced them, kind of like our home. And so you have these medieval bones and then the new stuff on top of it, and all on top of a city or a town that wasn't ever really planned. All the focus was on the royal family and the castle. So in some of the examples, there are actual chapters and discussions specifically about how they built the caves and how they had wells. Some properties had a cave like ours, where it was a simple barrel vault. Some of them were more elaborate, but a lot of them had actual open hand-dug wells in their cave, in the basement or adjacent to it. And it's entirely possible that what the previous owners have described, we could, under this area, have a well that was capped off and just kind of like, you know, because in the past, in the 50s and 60s, who wanted that, right?
Once they had running water, why would they want a well?
Why would they want that? It's
And
also
then
a hazard.
It allowed them to cover over it and add an addition onto
Right.
the house.
Right. So I would like to rediscover that. There's an example very similar to ours that is, that has a well, an actual circular hand-dug well right there in the basement or in the cave. So I feel like we could have that. And these wells probably wouldn't have been very deep because we're so close to the river, and it's all sand, so you wouldn't have to go very deep for water. So probably 30, 40.
And what happened to the river that went through that part of town? How did they?
The mess?
Yeah, they diverted it.
Yeah, so the Mess is the river that comes through. It's a tributary that leads into the Loire, and that was used for commerce and for the tannery. It defined how the castle was situated and also along the Loire, and it came through. And at some point, I think after the Second World War, they decided to, as it went under the medieval part of town, they put in underground pipework, and then they could build over the top of it. So it used to be an open waterway, and then now it's just, it's hidden under there. But further upstream, the Mess is still active.
Yeah. Yeah, interesting. Since we don't necessarily like the configuration of the utility area anyway, and we were going to try to disguise it with and make more use of it with a faux butler's pantry, mudroom type thing, and we were going to redo the floor anyway, and so we can take this opportunity while we're remodeling to look under the floor and see if there is a well there.
Yeah, we can pull up the linoleum anyway and see what's under there.
What are we going to do? Let me just start over. you done making fart noises? How are we going to proceed with the upstairs bathroom renovation now that we've made this interesting discovery with the mystery stairwell and all that?
Well, what I found was with the bathroom, the whole time I was trying to logistically get the plumbing in, the water and the waste pipe and stuff, was I was constantly trying to not disturb anything, and it made everything kind of go really slowly, and I couldn't figure out how to actually get any of it done. But I knew the whole time that I wanted to actually just like take out the flooring and just like put in the stuff, put in the plumbing, and then like refloor it. Well, now that we're gonna pause on the renovation, we can actually take the flooring out and do the historical discovery, and just wait on renovating the bathroom. And then when it comes time to actually continue with the bathroom, it's going to be more of a traditional renovation process where I have access to everything. I don't have to like figure out how to very carefully get the plumbing. I'll have access to everything. So I think we're going to let this play out and see how this goes. Next time we're there, I'm actually going to go and excavate everything out of that stairwell and see where it goes. My hope is that I'm going to, at some point, be down in the stairwell and behind the library.
Yeah.
And I'll know that I'm on the back side of the wall. And then over here will be this bricked up doorway outside, and over here is the powder room, the back of the cabinet. And then we can make some kind of a secret room. It's gonna be cool.
Yeah, we're all about a secret room. If we don't find one, we're gonna make one.
Yeah, I don't know if you know about Meow Wolf, but if you do, then we want our house to basically be like Meow Wolf. We want it to be kind of have full of secrets.
The one in Santa Fe, not the grocery store.
Yeah, I don't know the other ones. The Santa Fe is the original. Yeah.
Anyway, it's basically just briefly I'll explain. It's like a cross between an art museum, a theme park,
An art installation. And a murder mystery.
And a choose your own adventure.
Yeah, and they have a house that has secret passageways, all that cool stuff.
Yeah, so we like that kind of stuff.
So maybe this stairwell will become some kind of secret place or secret whatever.
Oh, shh, don't tell them. Because then they'll know.
Yeah.
So anyway, I think that's it for this video, yeah? We talked about everything?
Yeah, I think so. And, next videos we can maybe have more information about details of this.
Yeah. Well, Patrick's going to keep going on the rendering. Mm-hmm. And so we'll have, in this series, which is the Solving Mysteries series, which will be its own playlist, we'll keep going on this thread of like figuring out what's what and trying to put the pieces together, what research we might find, stuff like that. We also still have not been to like the archives to find any old records of our house or anything. But now that we understand more about how hodgepodge it is, that's been verified, it's a hodgepodge of multiple old houses. That's why we weren't given like a floor plan or blueprints. Or
there aren't any. Right, so we're gonna make those, and I think what I want to do is, eventually, what I want to do is an actual rendering of the interior of the house that is to scale. And so, you can get apps for your phone that will actually get the actual dimensions and everything, and then put it into 3D modeling software. Right now, I'm using SketchUp to do stuff manually, but
hopefully this helps you visualize more what we're talking about, and he'll be adding on what's above this in the fancy bedroom and all that, and talking more about how it all connects, how the stairwell connects, how the other half of the house, which was a different house at one point, connects. Like, we'll be able to put the whole story together and help you understand, because it's pretty fascinating and interesting.
Totally fascinating. And to think that the kind of people, the people's lives that lived in these homes.
Oh yeah, it's mind-boggling.
It's mind-boggling, yeah.
And so we'll be sharing what we learn. And thanks for watching, as always. Give us a like, make sure you're subscribed. and turn on your notifications so you always will know when we post another video.
Yep.
Thanks.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye. Let's go drink some wine.
Okay.